There is a subway line that runs from Seoul to Chuncheon. You can take it from Byeollae Station on line 8 all the way to Chuncheon Station. The one-way fare is around 3,000 won, so you can estimate the round-trip cost accordingly. As you can see, though, the scenery along the way is absolutely beautiful. Especially if you live in Seoul, seeing this kind of peaceful countryside scenery usually means taking a train or catching a bus from the intercity bus terminal. The Gyeongchun Line, however, makes it much more convenient by eliminating that hassles. Of course, if you are someone who sees scenery like this every day, it may not feel particularly special. But for someone like me, who is usually surrounded by the city, catching a glimpse of views like these every once in a while can be surprisingly moving. To me, scenes like these felt incredibly refreshing. Even though I was riding a subway, it felt more like traveling on a train, as if I was setting off on a journey. In the past, places like Chuncheon were a destination you could only reach by train or intercity bus, but being able to simply take the subway while enjoying such beautiful scenery made me feel truly fortunate. Now, I'd like to invite you to enjoy the scenery with me through the large windows of the subway. If you ever have some free time, I highly recommend taking the Gyeongchun Line. Simply transfer at Byeollae Station only on line 8, marked in the red, and you will be treated to beautiful views like this all the way to Chuncheon. It's a relaxing and enjoyable journey that's definitely worth experiencing. I honestly had no idea this subway line even existed. I really didn't. But once I discovered, I became curious and decided to take the trip. Wow, it was an amazing experience. As you can see, the journey offers beautiful countryside scenery, peaceful rivers, and charming towns and villages I had never visited before. Everything felt fresh and exciting. If you spend most of your life in the city like I do, you rarely get the chance to see so many forests and trees. Along this route, however, you were surrounded by nature for much of this journey. It was incredibly relaxing, and I felt as though the beautiful scenery was helping me recharge mentally and emotionally. By the end of the trip, I felt refreshed, comforted, and much more at peace. Interestingly, I took this trip on a weekday around lunchtime. The train was surprisingly quiet. There weren't many passengers, so I had plenty of space to move around. I could turn my seat, sit across 2 seats by myself, and even rotate my body comfortably while filming. Because this subway line wasn't crowded, the entire journey felt peaceful and relaxing. There were very few people around, so I didn't feel self-conscious while recording. Everything felt calm and comfortable. In fact, the ride was so quiet that it almost felt like I was traveling in my own private car rather than a public subway. Another thing I found fascinating was seeing so many station names that I had never heard before. It made the whole journey feel fresh and exciting. I kept thinking, I never knew this subway station even existed. When most people think of the subway, they imagine traveling through dark underground tunnels. However, the Gyeongchun Line spends much of its route above ground, allowing passengers to enjoy beautiful views along the way. Since the line has toured Gangwon region, it also passes through a number of tunnels. The combination of upland scenery and mountain tunnels made the trip feel more like a train journey than an ordinary subway ride. It had been a long time since I'd ridden a above-ground train. and the experience truly felt like going on a relaxing railway adventure. I enjoyed every minute of it. It's amazing, isn't it? I was fascinated by the fact that the people actually live in those remote mountain villages. Throughout the journey, I kept wondering what their lives were like. Questions kept running through my mind. What kind of work they do? How do they earn a living? What kinds of economic activities take place in these villages? How much do people earn? Is enough to support a comfortable life? I found it all incredibly interesting, since I don't know much about rural economies and or agricultural livelihoods. I could only make general assumptions. That made me even more curious to learn about daily lives of the people who live in these communities and how they make a living. I think that like this challenge the way we normally see life. They make us consider different ways of living, including what it might be like to build a life in the rural community. Of course, for the people who have lived there for years, that lifestyle is simply normal. It's what they've always known, so it's natural that they will continue living like that way. But for someone like me, who has spent most of life in the city, it was a completely different world. The journey sparked a lot of curiosity and made me wonder what life could be like outside the city. It gave me a new perspective and a genuine interest in learning more about way of life that was unfamiliar to me. For the rest of the journey, I hope you will simply relax and enjoy the beautiful countryside scenery outside the train window. Perhaps, like I did, you'll find yourself reflecting on different ways of life and just letting your thoughts wander as you watch the landscape pass by. Thank you so much for joining me in this journey. I truly appreciate you watching and look forward to seeing you again in my next video with another video adventure. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
이번 역은 산천, 홍양호수역입니다. 내릴 실문은 왼쪽입니다. This stop is Suncheon, Hongyeong-Hasu. The station number is P133. The doors are on your left.